Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Twitter Trash. Today's going to be a shorter episode, but I'm going to be mainly focusing on Elon Musk and the whole transaction of him buying Twitter and all of the controversy and dumb stuff surrounding that.
Supreme victory!
So the other day, Elon Musk walks into Twitter HQ, and there he is carrying a sink, and he tries to make a dad joke, let that sink in. Haha, very funny. Yeah, I don't know who told Elon Musk that he's funny, like he's a hilarious guy, because he wasn't like this years ago. He was very whatever. I mean, even the first time he appeared on the Joe Rogan's podcast, he was just kind of being his weird self, you know, dude that's like on the spectrum or whatever, talking about his not flamethrowers and stuff. And now he's like this meme lord. I don't know, I feel like it was him hanging out with PewDiePie or something. He did a video with PewDiePie, and then all of a sudden people were like, oh, I like this guy, he's a meme lord or something. And then he tries so hard. So then Elon starts talking about you paying for your verification checkmark, because, you know, Twitter's one of those places, it's one of the few websites that doesn't use verification as it's intended to be. Like, verification on most other websites, barring like Twitter and Instagram, it's just like, alright, you are who you say you are. On most websites, you'll get a verification badge if you just do a small little check thing. You confirm your email, maybe a picture ID or whatever, and then say, okay, you are who you say you are, cool. And then this, it's just become a social status thing on like Instagram and Twitter, mainly Twitter, because it's so hard for a lot of people to get verified. People that obviously should be verified. Like, for example, my co-host in the Snark Tank podcast, y'all know him, Chris Reagan. He probably should get verified, but he can't. You know, he meets all the criteria. He has like hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever. He's been written in articles and all this stuff. He's a public figure, but they want to prove him for whatever reasons. Maybe it's people that are just in charge of it. They don't like him. They're aware of him. They look at him on Wikipedia and it says some interesting things about him. I don't know, but it's obviously some sort of social club. It's all about who you know. And now Elon Musk wants to remedy that by you paying for it. So he first introduced it $20 a month. Everybody's like, that's absurd. Even Stephen King got involved in that, in those talking points. $20 a month to keep my blue check? Fuck that. They should pay me. If that get instituted, I'm gone like Enron. Haha, funny. So Elon replies to this and says, we need to pay the bill somehow. Twitter cannot rely entirely on advertisers. How about $8? And so there he is, haggling, bargaining with Stephen King. $20 sounds so absurd, and then, okay, $8, much more reasonable, but at the same time, it's still unreasonable. The fact that why would you have to pay for this? And the only reason it's like that is because Twitter allowed it to be like that, right? Since it wasn't just used as a regular check mark, it's a social status thing. People think their opinions matter more. And let me give you an example of what I mean. Lol, no one is complaining about the price. We're complaining about @PoopFartLover87 being able to get verified when it should be designated for public figures, celebrities, journalists, etc. who actually have a use for the badge. I know, like, somebody replies to him saying, there is no actual use for you to have the badge except to pretend your opinion is more important than others. They're kind of both right in a sense, because yeah, there are certain people that should be verified because there are a bunch of fake accounts of them and whatnot. Certain people, like, obviously you want them to get verified as soon as possible. And then there's people that isn't so obvious because, like, as far as it goes in the YouTube sphere, like a lot of commentators and whatnot, they're not known to most people in the world. However, there's still a lot of people who like to pretend to be them. They even make like parody accounts or whatever. Maybe they don't have any ill intent, but there's still some people that get confused and whatnot. And so it's like, bro, it would just be better if it worked as a normal verification thing. But you can see there's people that have those badges, like that guy, who would be upset that anyone would have it, like that everyone would have it. And I just don't care, because you go on something like Spotify, for example. Like, I'm on Spotify and I have a check mark on there. I'm a verified artist on Spotify. And that's just how it should be. It should be as simple as that. So Elon starts heavily leaning into the whole $8 a month thing, trying to shame people that are complaining, saying things that like, oh, this is actually going to be good for everybody. Like, Twitter's current lords and peasants system for who has or doesn't have a blue check mark is bullshit. Power to the people. Blue for $8 a month. And it's like, okay, power to the people. Like, if you really want to give power to the people, you would just make it a regular check mark, so everybody is equal. paying to be equal is not, that is not equality. That's actually the antithesis, because that's how class structures even begin to happen in the first place. There's all these people that have money and they can afford all this luxurious stuff, and then poor people can't. And so, but if the poor people had the money, then they could join up in that class. That's not how it works, though. So you're asking these people, there's people that don't have $8 a month. They're already using it on something that's much more valuable, like Netflix or whatever. They can't just afford another $8 a month, and so they can't be verified. And so you just created this class structure. It's still gonna exist. There's gonna be a lot more people that would actually buy because they're stupid, but it's gonna be meaningless at the same time if everybody has it. So it's just a dumb idea overall. So Elon posts a lot of memes as well. Just trying to, he's so bad at memeing. It's so, like, he's in his 50s, it's obvious. I didn't expect anything more of him, but it's still just really cringy watching him, I don't know, just be really embarrassing. But there is something interesting that did happen, though, and it had to do with him versus AOC. So a few days ago, AOC tweets, "Laughing my ass off at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan." And then AOC claims that her Twitter mentions and notifications just aren't working anymore after she kind of went after Elon Musk, which, I don't know, that is a little suspicious, but at the same time, I know stuff goes down on Twitter, even for myself, and obviously Elon Musk doesn't even know who I am. But it was conveniently timed that it just happened to happen. But their back and forth continued. So Elon Musk posts this picture of AOC merchandise, and it shows that her hoodie is worth $58. And then he just has that emoji, like, oh, that's interesting. But then AOC fires back. She tweets this out by saying, "My workers are union, have full healthcare plus benefits like childcare help, and everyone is paid a living wage. Proceeds go to the community acts like tutoring and undeserved kids. You're a union buster with an ego problem who pockets the change from underpaying and mistreating people." And the back and forth goes on for a little bit, but that's mainly it. I feel like in this exchange, Elon kind of got whooped pretty hard, because it's very true. He is a union buster. He is a piece of trash. If people, it's so sad when there's people that are arguing against unions, when unions are solely responsible for having living wages, having overtime, having benefits, having, not having to work yourself to death, and having breaks. And, like, say you go to third world countries and you see sweatshops and whatnot. That's what the jobs would really love to do. But because of unions and whatnot, we have livable wages and stuff that is, a little bit more humane than what you see for Nike and Adidas and iPhones and, Foxconn type stuff. So it also turns out that advertisers are, they're a little skeptical on what's gonna happen with Twitter, and they're kind of like, pulling out, maybe not wanting to invest so much into Twitter because of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is kind of, not only is he unlikable to a lot of people, there's a lot of people that worship him, whatever, he can't do anything about those people, but largely he has alienated a lot of people. He said, oh, I'm conservative, I'm Republican now, blah, 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 alienating a lot of the people that purchased his Teslas in the first place, and Tesla stocks have plummeted because of that. And even more so now, because a lot of those same people are worried about what's going to happen with Twitter. And a lot of these outlets are also worried as well. So it's going pretty bad for him, but that doesn't stop him from spinning it in a way that it has to do with just, what did he call them? Activists? Now, he didn't say which side the activists are, but it's implied. Twitter has had a massive drop in revenue due to activist groups pressuring advertisers, even though nothing has changed with the content moderation, and we did everything we could to appease the activists. Extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America. And there Elon goes with this whole narrative about free speech. This whole thing about free speech. Need I remind you guys that Elon put up this ridiculous number, like, oh, I'm gonna buy Twitter for $44 billion, a ridiculous number that nobody should have purchased for it. And then of course Twitter's like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then Elon's like, oh, never mind. But then they sued him, And instead of going to trial, Elon's like, okay, fuck it, I'll buy it. Because he knew he was going to lose anyway. So which meaning he was just going to pay all this numerous amounts of court fees on top of having to buy Twitter. So it's like, it just makes sense to buy it now. This dude doesn't care about free speech. Like, don't get it twisted. If he has, he would have been an advocate for free speech a long time ago. Like, you guys are... it's just sad that there's people that fall for this dumbass rhetoric. So here he goes again, lying his ass off. And the funny thing about this, him posting that, Twitter fact checks him. The owner of Twitter, they fact check him and they post these sources right here where it says, Readers added context they thought people might want to know. Reporting shows that advertisers suspending or canceling ad buys over concerns with Twitter platform direction, especially as related to content moderation. And it shows all of these platforms writing articles about this and their explanation. And it has nothing to do with just these activists that are just pressuring advertisers. Because first of all, when the hell's that ever worked? When have activists actually got companies to stop making money? Like, really? Like, at the end of the day, they have to really realize, is this good for our brand or not? And Elon Musk is not good for brands. Activists, nobody really needed to come to that conclusion by being pressured by activists. You just look at his rap sheet. The things that he's been tied up in, the allegations, him accusing someone of being a pedo, the whole, I'm gonna solve, well, if you can prove that you can solve world hunger for 6 billion, I'll do it. And then when people were like putting numbers, they were like presenting numbers and stuff like that, he just kind of like went away, he went quiet. The whole satellite thing with Ukraine, if you guys want to look into that, obviously just claiming that, I'm just a Republican now, like, and now they're trying to just silence me and they're trying to do stuff because I'm a Republican. I'm like, bro, people were shitting on you before that. But he knows what he's doing. It's strategic. And so I'm curious to see how things are going to turn out. I actually would not mind if Twitter imploded. I enjoy Twitter for what it is because I don't use it for a bunch of wacky stuff. I mainly use it to find a few memes, post a little things here and there, promote my music mostly, and that's mostly it, right? Obviously, I use it for Twitter trash too. And so if Twitter like just happened to die, if it just imploded, I'd be totally fine with that. I've been saying for a while that, you know what, I'm gonna go onto Instagram because Instagram has a lot of garbage on there too, and I spend more time on Instagram than I do Twitter, and I would just call it Insta Trash. So it would force me to finally do that. So kind of maybe there's a little part of me that hopes that Twitter does die. Because it's led to probably some of the worst discourse on the internet. And it's led to the rise in some of the stupidest people having some of the largest voices. And so there's a lot of good out there, but the bad stuff is way more digestible. Propaganda and stupid talking points is way more digestible than trying to get someone to think critically, right? Critical thinking and the truth does not get liked as much. It's not sexy, it's not salacious. So that's the biggest problem. So if it dies, it dies. Well, that was way longer than I thought it was gonna be. There's actually much more surrounding that situation, but I wanted this video to be short, but I don't know how to make these much shorter than, I don't know. I was like, 10 minutes. You can't explain this whole situation in 10 minutes. But anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful, beautiful day or night or wherever you are, and take care of yourselves. And yeah, I'm gay.